pandemic. Today's webinar, Back to School Practices in the New Normal, organized under the guidance of Mr. Trilok Singh Bisht, Principal DPSGV Vasundhara, aims at creating a pool of workable solutions. So, without much delay, I request Principal Sir to give the keynote address. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, all the panelists out here, moderators, students, teachers, and Facebook Live audiences. A very warm good evening to all of you, and I'm sure all of you know, today we are going to deal with a very, very important topic. You know, educational reforms, one of the longest overdue and the critical desirables, will happen so soon and rapidly with the outbreak of the pandemic we never thought of. Just one small virus brought so much of the changes. We got suddenly changed into the digital mode altogether. Being one of the most affected industries by this virus, we all went through complete transformation in terms of purpose and processes to meet the demand of the times. And as a result, what happened? We all started working on it, and we at Delhi Public School, Ghaziabad, Vasundhara. There's some disturbance somewhere. So anyways, we at Delhi Public School Ghaziabad Society, we have always been forerunners in the field, and we proved it once again. Why we could not go out, we went inside. We looked within, reflected upon our existing practices, challenged our assumptions, and realized the need for research to bring about the informed change that was desired, supported with appropriate technological inputs. And we started working on the curriculum design 2020, which is called as CD 2020, which is a document which has been produced by 650 teachers, principals, central academic team, and we are ready to share our practices with all the preschools and all the schools all over the country. And for that, it's already put as it is on our website. Anybody can visit it because we really want sharing adds onto your knowledge. If you share with the people, you also mutually learn from the people. So as a result, this webinar was designed where we really wanted, with a vision to achieve the dreams of our young learners, we teachers play a very important role as a parent, as a counselor, as a motivator, as a facilitator, as a guide, and as a friend. So basically, teaching learning process in itself is an innovative practice. If you really look at it, if we are working, we are teaching and learning, that becomes more of innovative practices. And during this pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, with no physical classes, the teachers who were not once recognized as the encyclopedia of knowledge, they were at the verge of identity crisis because children could Google it much before the teacher could tell them. So the biggest challenge was information about the chalk and dog transformation from chalk and duster to the digital learning. Techno-friendly teachers proved better than the others. Content knowledge took a backseat, and skill to handle the technology took a priority amongst all the schools. Content was freely available in the internet everywhere, and every child has the access. And the teacher's role was more of creating the interest in the academics, more of identifying the right content, and facilitating the learning. Teachers turn out to be the facilitators rather than the dictators in the class, and really you can say the teacher's role as a motivator and role model diminished, and learners partially presence in online classroom teaching added a lot of challenges for the children. We don't grow when things are very easy for us. We grow when we face challenges. This was the time when teachers had to strike new opportunities, open new roadmaps, and welcome the new normal. And with this new normal, when we are reopening in April now, we all have to think of what are going to be the best practices in the new normal when we are going to bounce back to the schools. And the efforts of many such innovative teachers and educationals has really given birth to a new teaching strategy, most of them with active involvement of technology bridging the gap from sustainable and inclusive learning. And we really want today to learn from our panelists as to how we are going to get back to the schools in the new normal. Without being much between you and the panelists, I would just request Richa ma'am to take the things further. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'm sure today's session is going to be very intriguing, quite interesting, a lot of learning from each other. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
Thank you so much, sir. And now for the further proceedings of the webinar, I hand over to Manika Nayal ma'am and Dolly Singh ma'am to take over the event and facilitate it. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, dear friends.
Good evening.
So that's Dolly ma'am and this is Manika. We'll be taking the proceedings further from here. The most important things first, since we are a time-bound webinar and we have had a lot of back and forth with the panelists, some who are not well and had to drop out, and we had new panelists in. So to smoothen the process, we will all ensure that we complete whatever we have to share within 3 minutes, but we will have enough space to have the questions going back to other panelists also if time permits, right? And as and when you feel that you need to share a very important point and the space is not available, I request you to share the chat or raise the digital hand if that's possible for you, and we will invite you. Can the panelists and all present in the meeting know where the digital hand is available on Teams? Right. So as we proceed, we will be seeing many other aspects of the new normal, how, the online medium is becoming a part of the school systems, how professional learning communities, which Trilok sir mentioned, the PLCs, where we are collaborating and enriching ourselves as facilitators. So at this point, I would like to invite Sunil ji. Sunil Tyagi ji is the director of Icon Groups of School. So, as we prepare to reopen school, what are some of the challenges you can see that we are going to face, and what strategies and approaches, because we always plan well ahead of time, do you think will help us address these challenges?
Thank you so much, Mr. Vist, for organizing this wonderful session, wonderful webinar, and thank you so much to all of you for joining. थैंक्स उन सभी पेरेंट्स को, सभी टीचर्स को, नॉन टीचिंग स्टाफ्स को, जिन्होंने इस क्रिटिकल टाइम में डिवोशनल डेडिकेशन और हार्ड वर्किंग के साथ साथ सक्सेसफुल क्लासेस अपने बच्चों को दी और उनके साल को हम सेव कर पाए। साथ में कंट्रीब्यूशन इन प्लेटफॉर्म का भी है, जिस पर हम आज भी वेबिनार कर रहे हैं। जब स्कूल ओपन होने वाले हैं तो चैलेंजेस भी साथ में हैं। तो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंजेस मुझको नजर आ रहा है वो है साइकोलॉजिकल। एक्चुअली 2 साल से बच्चे घर पर हैं, तो इतने लंबे टाइम तक घर में रहने के वजह से एक हैबिट हो जाती है, और वैसे भी हम भी जब मंडे में ऑफिस आते हैं तो थोड़ा लगता है, तो सेम हमारे बच्चों के साथ भी है। और रूटीन में भी हम देखते हैं जब मंडे में बच्चे आते हैं तो कुछ बच्चे उतने कंफर्टेबल नहीं होते जितने अदर डेज में होते हैं। तो आज जब स्कूल ओपन हो रहे हैं तो ये बड़ा ही नेचुरल है, और किसी भी वर्क को अगर रूटीन में किया जाए, लंबे टाइम तक अगर हम किसी वर्क को करते हैं तो वो एक हैबिट बन जाती है, और हैबिट बनकर एक कंफर्ट जोन आ जाता है, जो 2 साल से लगातार बच्चों के घर में रहने से वो आ चुका है, और उसको कंफर्ट जोन से बाहर निकलने में सभी को थोड़ा अनकंफर्ट होता ही है। ये बड़ा ही नेचुरल है। तो मैं सभी पेरेंट्स, सभी टीचर से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि प्लीज 10 to 15 डेज तब कुछ कवर हो जाएगा। एकेडमिक पर बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर ना बनाएं, ना ही बहुत ज्यादा फोर्स करें, क्योंकि ये सब कुछ नॉर्मल चीजें हैं, बहुत बड़ी बातें नहीं है। कुछ दिन केवल बच्चों के अकॉर्डिंग उनको उनकी साइकोलॉजी को समझते हुए एक हेल्दी, हैप्पी और एक एंटरटेनिंग एटमॉस्फेयर उनको हम देने की कोशिश करें, जिससे कि जब बच्चा स्कूल नेक्स्ट डे घर में वो उठता है तो स्कूल आने के लिए मोटिवेट हो सके, उसको लगे कि जो घर में उसको मिलने वाला है उससे ज्यादा, उससे बेटर कुछ उसको स्कूल में मिलने वाला है। तो इस तरह की ट्रेनिंग, इस तरह के प्रमोशंस हम अगर स्कूल में टीचर्स के साथ बैठ के उनको बताएंगे, करेंगे, टीचर ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम भी करेंगे, तो हमारे बच्चे स्कूल आने के लिए मोटिवेट होंगे। दूसरा, उनको प्रॉपर सेटल होने का भी एक टाइम दें। तभी मैं उन्हीं पेरेंट्स से भी मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूं कि स्कूल को भी थोड़ा टाइम दें और टीचर्स पे भी अननेसेसरी प्रेशर ना बनाएं कि अभी 10 दिन हो चुके हैं, 5 डेज निकल चुके हैं, अभी मेरा बच्चा ये नहीं कर रहा है। तो थोड़ा समय लगेगा क्योंकि चीजें बदली हैं, नॉर्मल होने में कुछ टाइम लगेगा। तो थोड़ा समय टीचर्स को दें, स्कूल को दें और सबसे पहले अपने बच्चों को दें। सपोर्ट करें जिस तरह से इन 2 सालों के साथ सभी ने एक दूसरे के साथ सपोर्ट करके एक के साथ हाथ बढ़ाकर हम आगे बढ़े हैं। जैसे जैसे टाइम निकलेगा हम एक दूसरे को सपोर्ट करते चलेंगे, निश्चित रूप से इन चैलेंजेस को हम ओवरकम करते चले जाएंगे। तो सपोर्ट जितना ज्यादा हम एक दूसरे के साथ करेंगे, नॉर्मल उतनी ही जल्दी हम होते चले जाएंगे। अब हम ऑनलाइन से ऑफलाइन में शिफ्ट हो रहे हैं। पहले हम रोज ही टीचर्स और पेरेंट्स रोज बात करते थे आपस में, लेकिन अब ऑफलाइन होने की वजह से ये पॉसिबल नहीं हो पाएगा। फिर भी जितना हो सकता है टीचर्स और पेरेंट्स आपस में कनेक्ट रहें, इन्वॉल्व रहें, बात करते रहें, फ्रीक्वेंटली मीटिंग करते रहें कि आज उनके बच्चे के अंदर क्या परफॉर्मेंस है, कल क्या था, अब क्या इंप्रूवमेंट हो रहे हैं। तो इन चीजों को जब हम साथ बैठ के करेंगे, डिस्कशन करेंगे, तो इन चैलेंजेस को हम कुछ ओवरकम कर पाएंगे। नेक्स्ट चैलेंज जो देखने को मिल रहा है वह है स्पीच, कंसल्टेशन, अंडरस्टैंडिंग और एक कम्युनिकेशन का। क्योंकि इस पीरियड में पेरेंट्स अपने ऑफिस के काम की वजह से ज्यादातर अपने लैपटॉप में बिजी रहे, कुछ टाइम मिला तो घर के काम में बिजी हो गए। तो जो टाइम बच्चों को मिलना चाहिए, इस छोटी उम्र के बच्चों को जो एज है, उतना टाइम वो चाह कर भी नहीं दे पाए और मजबूरी में भी बच्चों ने या पेरेंट्स ने भी उनको मोबाइल या टीवी की तरफ डाइवर्ट कर दिया। ये कोई बुरी बात नहीं थी क्योंकि ऑप्शन भी कुछ नहीं था। बच्चे बाहर जा नहीं सकते थे, ग्राउंड में खेल नहीं सकते थे, कोई घर पर आ नहीं सकता था। तो वो क्या करते, उन्होंने अपना मैक्सिमम टाइम मोबाइल और टीवी के सहारे ही निकाल दिया, जिससे बच्चों के अंदर मोबाइल के एडिक्शन भी देखने को मिल रहे हैं। लेकिन ये कोई बहुत बड़ी बात नहीं है। मोबाइल का एडिक्शन अगर किनको बच्चों को हो भी गया है तो वो बहुत जल्दी दूर भी हो जाता है। स्कूल खुल चुके हैं, जैसे जैसे वो स्कूल में इन्वॉल्व होंगे, पेरेंट्स उनके साथ इन्वॉल्व होंगे, तो जितनी इन्वॉल्वमेंट बच्चों की अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ, पेरेंट्स के साथ या टीचर्स के साथ बढ़ती चली जाएगी। वो प्ले ग्राउंड में बच्चे खेलने जाएंगे तो वो मोबाइल का एडिक्शन ऑटोमेटिक दूर हो जाएगा। ये कोई बहुत बड़ा इशू नहीं है। चीजें बदली हैं, नॉर्मल होने में कुछ समय लगेगा और निश्चित रूप से लगेगा। तो इसलिए एक दूसरे के साथ जब हम टीचर बच्चों को मोटिवेट करेंगी, छोटी छोटी स्कूल में एक्टिविटी कराएंगी, एंटरटेनिंग डिस्कशन करेंगी, मोटिवेशनल डिस्कशन करेंगी, कोई छोटी छोटी बच्चों के साथ एक्टिविटी करा के अगर बच्चे करते हैं उनको अप्रिशिएट करें, क्लैपिंग कराएं, तो बच्चों को लगेगा कि मैंने कुछ अच्छा काम किया है और वो और करने के लिए मोटिवेट होंगे। इस मोटिवेशन से बच्चों की अंडरस्टैंडिंग, कम्युनिकेशन बढ़ेगा क्योंकि वो आपस में बात करेंगे और उनके कंसंट्रेशन भी बढ़ेगा। तो इस तरह की एक्टिविटीज टीचर्स फ्रीक्वेंटली अपने क्लास में बच्चों के साथ जब ये कुछ टाइम कराएंगी तो ये चीजें नॉर्मल होती चली जाएंगी। सारे बच्चे एक साथ रेस्पॉन्ड नहीं करते हैं और इक्वली रेस्पॉन्ड नहीं करते हैं। तो जो बच्चे थोड़ा स्लो रेस्पॉन्ड कर रहे हैं उनके अकॉर्डिंग स्ट्रेटजी बनाकर उनको भी हमको साथ लेकर चलना है। ये एक हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज भी है। इस टाइम में बच्चों की कुछ की एज भी बढ़ चुकी है, उसको भी हमको साथ लेते हुए चलना है। तो ये कम्युनिकेशन स्किल है, ये कंसल्टेशन का स्किल है, अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, स्पीच है। ये चैलेंजेस ओवरकम होंगे जब इस तरह की एक्टिविटीज में हम बच्चों को इन्वॉल्व रखेंगे। हम पेरेंट्स के ओरिएंटेशन प्रोग्राम करते हैं, टीचर्स की ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम करते हैं, लेकिन इन छोटे बच्चे समझते बहुत जल्दी हैं। तो छोटे बच्चों की भी अगर हम फ्रीक्वेंटली छोटे छोटे प्रोग्राम करेंगे जिनको वो समझ सके एंटरटेनिंग बना के, तो जब हम सभी लोग एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म पे अकॉर्डिंगली एक जैसा सोचेंगे, करेंगे, तो चीजें जल्दी नॉर्मल हो जाएंगी। तो ये चैलेंजेस हमारे बहुत जल्दी नॉर्मल हो जाएंगे। इसी स्ट्रेटजी के साथ अगर हम आगे बढ़ेंगे तो चीजें नॉर्मल होती चली जाएंगी। नेक्स्ट जो हमारा एक चैलेंज है वो है सोशल और एक इमोशनल ग्रूमिंग का। क्योंकि पूरे टाइम 2 साल छोटे छोटे बच्चों के काम कुछ था नहीं उनके पास, उन्होंने अपनी फैमिली के मेंबर्स को ही देखा। तो जब इंटरेक्शन उनका किसी से नहीं हो पाया तो इमोशनल बॉन्डिंग, सोशल डेवलपमेंट कहाँ से हो पाएगा? इसके लिए इंटरेक्शन की जरूरत प्रॉपर होती है। अब स्कूल ओपन हो चुके हैं, एज ए स्कूल और एज ए एजुकेटर, एज ए ट्रेनर या टीचर, हमारी ये बहुत बड़ी रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बन जाती है कि बच्चों को इन चीजों को हम सिखाएं, ग्रीट करना सिखाएं, टीचर्स को किस तरह ग्रीट करते हैं, आपस में एक दूसरे को किस तरह ग्रीट करते हैं। इस तरह की इन्वॉल्वमेंट उनको इमोशनल और कहीं ना कहीं सोशल डेवलपमेंट में हेल्प करेंगे। और जो ये चैलेंजेस हमको देखने को मिल रहे हैं, ये डेफिशिएंसी जो उनके डेवलपमेंट में हमको देखने को मिल रही है, ये डेफिशिएंसी धीरे धीरे रिमूव होगी, उनकी क्वालिटी इंप्रूव होती चली जाएगी। तो एक साथ हम सब टीचर्स, पेरेंट्स, एज ए स्कूल जब हम वर्क करेंगे तो ये सारी चीजें ओवरकम होती ऑटोमेटिक चली जाएंगी। सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट जो कि सबसे फर्स्ट आना चाहिए था, सेफ्टी। कोरोना अभी गया नहीं है, तो इसके सेफ्टी के रूल रेगुलेशन, जो उसका प्रोटोकॉल है, उसको भी हमको फॉलो करना है। बच्चे फॉलो तब करते हैं, एक्चुअली बच्चे कॉपी करते हैं, जो छोटे बच्चे होते हैं वो, और सबसे ज्यादा कॉपी करते हैं अपने पेरेंट्स की और अपने टीचर्स की कॉपी घर पे जाके करेंगे, पेरेंट्स की कॉपी स्कूल में आके करेंगे। तो अगर हम उनको कुछ करवाना चाहते हैं तो हमको वो पहले करना पड़ेगा। तो वैसे भी हमको करना भी चाहिए। तो उन रूल रेगुलेशन को, उन प्रोटोकॉल को हम फॉलो करें। हमको देखते हुए बच्चे फॉलो करेंगे। जितना मैक्सिमम कर सकते हैं उतना हम कम से कम कर सकते हैं। मैं इन सारे चैलेंजेस को अगर मैं कंक्लूड करूं तो 2 लाइन में केवल यही बातें हैं कि जिस तरह से इस 2 साल में, 2 ईयर्स में हमने एक साथ मिलकर एक दूसरे को सपोर्ट करके हम आगे बढ़े हैं। पेशेंस, पेरेंट्स को पेशेंस रखना होगा। स्कूल पर जिस तरह उन्होंने फेथ किया है, वो उस फेथ को रखते हुए, पेशेंस दिखाते हुए, एक दूसरे को सपोर्ट करते हुए, एक दूसरे के साथ मिलकर आगे बढ़ना होगा। ये जितने भी चैलेंजेस होंगे कम से कम टाइम में दूर हो जाए। ये आ रही है, हम देखने को मिल रही हैं, ये सारे के सारे नॉर्मल होते चले जाएंगे। थैंक यू विश सर, आपने इतना शानदार प्रोग्राम रखा। और जो पर्पस था इस प्रोग्राम का भी, वेबिनार का भी, और हम सबका जो पर्पस है कि स्कूल दोबारा उसी नॉर्मल सिचुएशन में पहुंच जाए जिस सिचुएशन में हम थे, उसी सिचुएशन में दोबारा पहुंचना चाहते हैं। हम सब जब एक टीम की तरह, एक फैमिली की तरह मिलकर काम करेंगे, बहुत जल्दी इन चैलेंजेस को ओवरकम कर पाएंगे और दोबारा उसी सिचुएशन में पहुंच जाएंगे। थैंक यू सो मच।
थैंक यू सुनील जी, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स मेड बाय यू, और बहुत आपने स्टेप बाय स्टेप बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स को टच करा है। एंड आई एम सो हैप्पी टू सी दैट टीचर्स पे प्रेशर ना डालें। You know, there are expectations to fill the learning gaps. There are expectations to deliver results. तो कहीं ना कहीं वो प्रेशर जो वो दिल से चाहते हैं उस इस समय की परिस्थिति को समझते हुए करना, कई बार they have to compromise on that. So when you say कि टीचर पे प्रेशर ना डालें, because टीचर वो एक्सेस है जिसपे बाकी सारे स्टेक होल्डर्स उनके साथ मिलकर घूम रहे हैं टू डेवलप देयर चाइल्ड। यू नो, वी आर द काइंड ऑफ दैट एक्सेस ऑफ द पॉटर्स व्हील जिसमें बच्चे को शेप दिया जा रहा है। तो उसको इतनी तेजी से भी ना घुमाए कि वो शेप बिगड़ जाए। वेरी वेल सेड सर। एंड यस, सेफ्टी प्रोटोकॉल, चाहे वो फिजिकल सेफ्टी का हो, चाहे वो इमोशनल, सोशियो इमोशनल सेफ्टी का हो, तो हमें जो कुछ भी जरूरी है, अगर इफ वी टेक केयर ऑफ दैट, लर्निंग विल हैपन। चाइल्ड इज इन द फेज ऑफ मैक्सिमम लर्निंग। इस लॉकडाउन में भी उसने बहुत कुछ सीखा है, और हमारे जो गोल ओरिएंटेड स्कोलास्टिक गोल्स हैं या स्किल ओरिएंटेड गोल्स हैं, कॉम्पिटेंसी बेस्ड गोल्स हैं, वो सब अचीव करेगा only if the child feels safe and, as earlier said, is healthy and happy to come to school. और दूसरी बात जो आपने, जो बिगड़ गई हैं, ऑफ बैलेंस है, जो रूटीन्स हैं, जो हैबिट्स हैं, उनको चेंज वापस ट्रैक पे लाने के लिए समय मांगता है। Thank you so much for sharing your insights on this, sir. And at this point, चाहे आपने कहा लर्निंग विल हैपन अलोंग द वे, एक स्टूडेंट को इनवाइट करा जाए जो अभी भी स्टूडेंट है, और आई एम वेरी प्राउड टू से दैट शी हैपन्स टू बी एन एल्यूमिना ऑफ dpsgv, वैष्णवी भारद्वाज, who is currently pursuing applied psychology from Gargi College, Delhi University. So I'm happy to see you here, and so are others. तो हम स्टूडेंट का पर्सपेक्टिव जाने कि हम सब ने कहा लर्निंग विल हैपन अलोंग द वे। वैष्णवी, व्हाट आर योर थॉट्स कि हमने तो ऑनलाइन स्कूल्स करके भी tried to reduce the disruption in education due to COVID-19 lockdown. Yet, हम जब learning gaps देख रहे हैं, तो how much importance should it be given? Do you think learning gaps in the scholastic domains should be our guiding, principle in developing the curriculum? हम scholastic domain को ज़्यादा importance दे या नहीं? हालांकि हमने अभी सुनील सर की बात जो सुनी है, would you like to expand your thoughts and how you I think so there's a second mic which is operational.
Can we have our mics muted if we are not talking, except Manika ma'am and the speaker? Is Vaishnavi there?
Yes, sir.
Vaishnavi, you can start, please.
Yes.
I just began with, am I audible to everyone?
Now you are.
And I miss saying that because it's the online mode, and now that we have entered offline, I miss saying it. So, good evening, everyone. As ma'am said, I'm Vaishnavi Bharadwaj. I'm an alumna of dpsgv Vasundhara, and I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's degree in applied psychology from Delhi University. So, today, as these kids were here to discuss about how they're about to enter their school life, I also very recently only took my bigger yet baby steps to college, because the world has just opened up for me as well. So regardless of my age or the fact that I'm a student or a teacher, certainly a lot was thrown at each one of us. For decades, I think the only mode of teaching we all have known was classroom learning, and that schools were the only place of education. But not long enough, it came to surprise to all of us when the world took a 360-degree turn, and now all that we knew was technology. But all that I can remember as a child in my FIT classes, I was told that technology is the future. But trust me on this, 2 years into online education and this world of machinery, I wanted an escape. This idea of sitting at your home in the comfort of your bed, it was nothing short of a dream. But now I'm glad that this dream is over with, because I finally feel like a student all over again. So, before I begin to talk about this any further, as everybody said it rightly, I also want to express my thank you to all the teachers, because you all have played a dual role in this teaching learning process. Firstly, you became students yourselves, and then you were back to being teachers so that we as learners could become as equipped. I don't think that there was even a single sphere of our lives that did not ask for a change. So to begin with, our environment, it saw a huge revelation. This time, more than ever, it wanted us to adapt to literally everything around us. And as humans, we are bound to have interactions. We're constantly getting accommodated in our social environment. However, then life became monotonous and there was absolutely no way out. But as we got into the thick of the online mode, we were back here in the offline mode in the classrooms. Now, as the saying goes, that change is the only constant. It is true. But all that this change today is demanding from us is not just adaptability, but resilience. Your ability to bounce back in the face of adversity. As a 21st century learner myself today, I vouch for the fact that we all are extremely gifted and smart. But today, what we're looking for is a lot of support. And that support is emotional, social, mental, or even tangible in nature. We don't need spoon feeding today, we need hand holding. We want you all to give us a little push and lots of exposure, and you will see us all flourish. Don't give us solutions, but instead walk with us as we find the solutions for ourselves. Today I was thinking to myself when I was told about this webinar, and I was like, is this really the age group I should be talking about mental health, wellness, and how do I address to all these things to an age group who's just here beginning their school lives, wanting to have fun? They're just happy with the fact that the schools are reopening, they'll be with their friends. But now when I think of it deep down, if talks around mental health, wellness, well-being begin at such a tender age, trust me, not a single child in our schools is going to feel out of place. And in turn, even researchers have shown that such conversations about such important concepts not only improve upon your resilience, but it encourages more interactions, and it also rules out the issues that are related to the concepts of inclusivity. Another thing that I think that is needed right now is a more personal and one-on-one contact of the teacher with every student. I understand how big classroom sizes can be, and it's impossible for just one teacher to have a connect with every student. But as students are coming back to the portals of the school, they need this strengthened relationship more than ever. So I just think like it was very rightly said that we were all trying to survive in this pandemic. Now I as a student feel the times for survivors have gone. We need to start thriving, because as everyone pointed out, COVID is not going anywhere. So then why not let's just be in the mode of thriving. We're all here very strong individuals who have identified that there were learning gaps. So lastly, I just want to say that over these 2 years, all I have learned is that all these learning gaps can be filled up only once you promote happy, healthy, growing minds. So thank you, everyone. I am a product of the school, and I know how happy and excelling I am in my college life today only because of the skills that were taught to me to strengthen my core. And I'm sure that everybody today is going to do the same for their schools. Thank you, ma'am.
Vaishnavi, my heart swells with pride the way you have expressed your thoughts on this. And yes, it's time to thrive, because survival we have learned, and as human beings we know how to survive, right? But thriving is what we have learned, ways of thriving, because challenges, as earlier one of the speakers had said, ki challenges push us to grow, right? So that is where we are going to thrive. Very, very important points you have made, and kind of, you know, हमारे earlier panelists की बातों को भी you have kind of given one more big support to whatever they were speaking about, that happy, joyous, peaceful. And looking at her, I would, everybody, all of us can very well see that now that she is in the real space of learning where she's interacting with people, we are seeing a much happier version of Vaishnavi, who was in front of the screen attending her online lectures. So at this point, I would like to expand this a little bit with quick one-liners on about curriculum. What do the panelists, all who are present here, you could just raise your hand, and what are your thoughts? Does the curriculum that was existing pre-lockdown, does it require modification? And if we look at the context of, you know, what are the changes that you would really suggest or implement when you're thinking of, you know, children at the preschool level or the play groups who will be transitioning to the bigger schools, into the primary schools, bigger schools, you know, so that it's smooth for them? Anyone, a quick thought on that? I can see Mr. Ritesh Kumar wanting to make a point. Yes, sir. Can somebody unmute, sir? He's not on the...
Can he raise his hand? Can he raise his hand? If his hand is raised, I'll unmute him.
His hand is raised, ma'am. Attendees mein, he should be able to.
He should be able to now.
Yes, Mr. Ritesh. All right, till the time Mr. Ritesh can unmute his mic, would anybody else like to come in and say something? Do you think Trilok sir at the very beginning had said that we had, as a DPSG society, we had worked on, you know, structuring our curriculum, and which is very aligned to the new education policy, and we came up with CD 2020, which is actually looking at creating a balance between the scholastic domain and what we call the foundational domain, where the arts, performing arts, visual arts, ICT, games, sports, emotional learning, socio-emotional learning, citizenship, all this becomes equally important alongside the scholastic domain. So we tried to figure out, and we realized, and after spending many long hours going through the researches and what was happening across the world, we framed CD 2020. So is there something more that we would like to bring about, in curriculum? What are the changes
I
that we
think
look
Abhishek
to?
has raised his hand. Abhishek's hand
Yeah,
is raised.
Abhishek, sir, please come in.
Yes, yes. So on the curriculum upgradation, I personally feel that each and every education institute should implement something which they feel that could help the learning quality of the learning of especially early child, because currently we are talking about the early learners. So I personally feel that in Sanford we had introduced in this academic session itself, we have introduced augmented reality curriculum. So it is a first 3D augmented reality curriculum in the whole India that we've introduced. So we are the pioneer to start with this. And why we have introduced this to for the better understanding of the children, for the better quality education. And if we have started from the inception, that is from the early learners from 2.5 3 years of age, we've started that up till at K-12. So this is a kind of a change that we've done in terms of upgrading the curriculum. Apart from that, yes, of course, the NEP 2020 has been introduced. I believe that in this academic year, full-fledgedly, some schools are going to introduce it. Some would introduce it after the next coming academic year. So in this academic year, we have all our books and our curriculum is now compliance with the NEP 2020. So I believe that these changes are bound to happen. We have to do that. And initially, in the last question, I had answered that yes, there has to be an interaction. There has to be a blended learning of technology as well as the traditional mode of learning, right? So that's our way of giving something more to the children. So in Sanford, as I already told you, that augmented reality is something that we have introduced, and so far the children are amazed to see it. Why? Because the things that are coming onto, मतलब वो पहले book से पढ़ते थे. It was just a 2D learning. Now we have our own, application where they can go and all their book are coming into a 3D form. If there's a tiger, they can see the tiger. They can understand where does it live or what is the sound and everything. So all these things are they make the learning experience better, especially for the children of 2 years of age or 3 years of age. So yes, of course, I personally feel that yes, all the education institutes should introduce something or the other, because right now
You just mentioned about happy, healthy, and growing minds. In DPSGV, we have always tried to give that exposure to the children where they feel like coming to school. School is like their second home. And in the pandemic, we tried to cover the learning gaps through technology, through various games, through online games. So technology helped a lot. It made us adaptive and we evolved. Along with the time, we also evolved. So my next question is for Miss Nazia Ahmed. Teacher first step. Ma'am, What do you feel? We all know that children were deprived of many important social interactions during this time because they could not meet physically. They were all present online during the online classes. So, how will you encourage peer bonding among children?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. And I am really glad, and I feel it's a pleasure to be here. And I thank dpsgv on behalf of First Step School for inviting me and giving me a chance to listen to such great educators and mentors, and giving me a chance to deliver my thoughts as well. So, in these 2 years, I have seen that teachers have uh, done a great job teaching children. Like, I think that academic part have not been hampered or suffered that much. But the most important thing that the children have lacked is
I
the
thank
social interaction. And the one
PTSD
thing
on
is,
behalf
which I feel personally, is their independence, like independence in their thoughts. Because of these online classes, they were always, somehow influenced by their parents when they were attending the online classes, and parents were with them. So, parents are always concerned that our child should not say anything wrong in front of the teacher, in front of all the other peers, because when the child is at school, he is independent. Whatever he likes to say, he would say in front of his teacher, he would say to his fellow mates. But at home, that one thing was being restricted. I have done it myself. If my child was going to say anything wrong, I would just say, mute yourself. Don't say such things to your teacher. But when the child is at school, he's independent. He whether he's saying it right or wrong, but he can, speak up his heart. Then that's the other thing that the teacher will correct him, that don't say such things or whatever in the part of studies or anything else, personal things. But that one thing, that confidence they have been lacking. When a child is given the freedom to speak, that builds up the confidence within him or her. So that one thing has been, lagged, and bonding with the children, as Mr. Sunil Tyagi sir has said, that first few weeks, or rather first month, should be like, children should be given independence. So whatever they like to do, they should be involved in many activities, so that they can know more about their teacher, more about their peer group. So that will encourage them, confidence in them in terms of speaking. Academics will go hand in hand, but that one thing should be, taken care by the teachers, by the, by the management, that in the initial weeks when the school is going to open, they should be involved in many such activities, introducing themselves, bringing something from their home, like we have done, we do in play schools, like show and tell activities, knowing about your friend, telling something about your friend, all such things, games, sports, much of these things must be included, especially in the initial weeks of the opening of the school. So that will encourage children to speak up, make them more confident, and that will also increase the bonding between their peer groups and with their teachers as well. So that's my thought on, how these gaps that has been created of social interaction between the children among the with the teachers, that can be filled. So that's my thought. Thank you so much. I would like to
Thank you,
thank once
Nazia
again.
ma'am. Thank you, Nazia ma'am, for sharing such wonderful ideas with us. I'm sure your suggestions would be of great help for each one of us present here. And as you said, influence of parents. Yes. See, child is the prized possession of the parents. So, of course, in the online classes when they were very much there, especially with the junior children. They would not see their children or their child letting down in front of the whole class. So obviously, they provided support to the students. That happened naturally, isn't it? I would agree with that. Yes. Now, since the children would be coming to school, this support won't be there. But teacher, being the second mother to the child, would be there to support the child in each and every way, isn't it? I'm sure you all will agree to that. We as educators, we are like parent to the child in the school, isn't it? Now, when we talk about parents, the parents have also lived these 2 years with their children. All 24 hours, the children were there with them. Now, the children would be coming to school. So, of course, the parents would be having some apprehensions. So, for this, to talk about parents' apprehensions, I would like to call our very own moderator, Manika ma'am, who is also our life skill educator at DPS GV. Manika ma'am, what are your suggestions? How can we address these apprehensions of the parents? So please throw some light on it.
So, Dolly ma'am, I will just take a minute because much of it has been spoken about by our earlier panelists, and I'll just pick the words which are very important for each one of us to give importance to, while we are addressing parents. Parents are unmistakably very important stakeholders. It's like a vehicle with many wheels, two wheels, four wheels. The steering wheel is in the hands of the parents and the teachers. And keeping that in mind, when Sunil sir was talking of, many elements that we need to give time, space, communicate, collaborate, patience. Yes, as stakeholders, we need to trust each other. So let us understand that if I'm sending my child to a school, I am surely trusting them, and that trust should continue irrespective of what challenges come along the way. Yes, उस trust में communication should not stop at all. And communication, respectful communication, so that I am able to listen to the other person non-judgmentally. So even if I have a parent who has flared up because of something, I need to give that parent space to listen to them non-judgmentally. Likewise, to all the parents who may be present here, I would say that the Teachers' Day is also not less stressful. She is also fighting her own battles, adjusting and developing herself to become more equipped for the new normal, which has created certain kind of pressures in all of us. The other thing which very important has already come up, habits and routines. Habits and routine takes very long to set. So the few hours that the child is with us and the few hours that is with the parent, we have to very consciously attend to building habits and routines which will support the well-being of the child. But parents are not exposed to the changes that are happening constantly in the educational field. We as professionals should take it upon us as a responsibility to equip them with the information, not an overload of information. कई बार क्या होता है, हम इतना ज़्यादा उनके पास भेज देते हैं कि वो overwhelm हो जाते हैं, तो वो उस नोट को पढ़ते ही नहीं है या उस चीज़ को importance देते ही नहीं है. So we should give them in very small doses. जिसे हम कहते हैं ना age appropriate, तो parent appropriate doses में देना होगा. And regularity of those doses. जैसे सुनील सर ने कहा कि orientations will become very important. our communication with the parents with anything new coming up. अगर छोटा बच्चा है उसके behavior, routines, habits, अगर adolescent है और board exams वाला है तो board में होने वाले changes के साथ हमने कैसे उसको equip करना है. Marks orientation से ज़्यादा क्यों socio emotional strengthening की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, उसके लिए हमें equip करना है. हमारे curriculum में क्या changes हुए हैं उसके लिए उनको sensitize करना है. They may be very apprehensive कि इस subject का relevance क्या है. It's our duty, our responsibility to sensitize them. So parents will have apprehensions about this. Parents will have apprehensions about safety, which of course we have to also tell them कि हम क्या measures ले रहे हैं. And invite the parents as frequently to the schools, very important, so that they know what we are talking about is really existing in the schools and their child is in a healthy, happy, safe space, right? A lot can be said, but let us see that we have an anxious parent who can very easily transfer their anxiety to the child, right? And if we settle the anxiety of the parent, we have a more settled child coming to us and we can work a lot. So with that, अपनी वाणी को विराम दूंगी मैं और आगे डॉली मैम को बोलने को बोलूंगी. डॉली मैम, I think so डॉली मैम का फिर कनेक्शन लूज अगर हो गया है तो I'll take this forward and I will invite. Okay, Dolly ma'am is here.
I'm so sorry today. Network is troubling me a lot. But thank you
Dolly
so
ma'am.
much, Manika ma'am.
All good.
Should I? Okay, thank you so much, Manika ma'am.
Dolly ma'am, I would like to say one thing. This is the resilience.
Yes,
You're not giving up. Taking up the
No,
challenge.
not at all.
Coming again and again. Though the network is throwing you out, but you are just determined to come back here and you're doing a great moderation today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. You have motivated me with these kind words. Thank you so much. But Manika ma'am, I was very much there listening to your response, and I liked this term orienting the parents and equipping them. This would certainly help a lot and make the teacher's task easy. Orienting, maybe in the beginning of the sessions or calling them in between, that could be the call of the school, isn't it? But yes, this is going to help the educators, the teachers a lot because they would be there for our support always. Thank you so much, Manika ma'am, for sharing such wonderful, giving such wonderful insight to this question. Now, moving forward, we all know that children are born learners and we always trust our children. They use their senses to explore, experience everything they come in contact with. So, to answer my next question, I would like to call Mr. Himanshu Sharma, Marketing Head of Ojaswin Group. Sir, what your opinion is the importance of experiential learning and how it can be applied in classroom?
First of all, good evening, everyone. And I am audible to everyone, I think.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing this stage. And as working in a school and as working in the marketing head of the Ojaswin Group, I had never been so much franky to the IT technologies. Okay, so if I talk that kids are learners from their birth, but I think how we respond to them, how we have shared our views to them, we have to first of all focus on the discipline, because the last 2 year environment they are having is only from their homes, and the environment what they are going to learn at their schools. Discipline, like if a kid had started drinking water from the bottle, then he will start also in the schools the same thing, because the kid learned the things, the discipline, the values in the school, and they applied at their home. And the same thing the kids learn their values at the home, they will show off in the schools. So first thing, we have to focus on the disciplines from the first day. As Sunil sir had already told us that for the first 15 days, we have to make them feel independence, whatever they do, so that we can also analyze the nature of our kids. And as Nazia ma'am had already shared that as a kid speak anything and everything, they don't care that who is in front of them. So we have to monitor and we have to analyze their behavior, their language, their comm skills, their values, because a kid personality can only be shown in his discipline and his values. So if I talk about the experiential learning, it is must. We have to focus on them, on their discipline first of all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Himanshu, sir, for sharing such wonderful things with us. Yes, discipline is one of the important thing that should be there in children. Now, if we talk about discipline, as you suggested, sir, can we also talk about being role model? Because the children learn from us. They see us. They see the parents at home. They see the teacher in the class. They see other teachers also taking different activities in the class, so they follow the teacher blindly, they follow their parents blindly. Sometimes we do something else, we say something else, and we do something else, isn't it? So the child gets confused कि करना क्या है मुझे, मम्मा कहे कुछ रही है, पापा कहे कुछ रहे हैं, कर तो कुछ और रहे हैं, isn't it? So
Right.
being a role model, if we are our children role model and we do right thing, we are principled in a way, then we are going to be disciplined also, if we believe in being principled. So if we are principled, of course our children are also going to follow us and they are also going to be principled. And also, when we talk about experiential learning, giving hands on learning to our students, which we as educators felt was missing little in these 2 years, because we tried to cover up everything through different activities online, technology, with the help of technology and all, giving exposure, giving project based learning, giving hands on experiences, asking them to explore the vicinity if possible along with their parents, because the time was such that they could not go out also much, isn't it? So they could not experience everything. Now since they would be coming to school, we will be providing them, we means the educators would be providing them with such on hands on activities that will help them to experience everything, and
I think Dolly has gone off for a little while again. She'll bounce
Yes.
back, I know. Within no time, she'll come back. But I
Yes.
think what you were saying was superbly good. You know, everybody, whether it's Abhishek, Rohit ji, or Nazia, or Himanshu, or Rohit, everybody has their own point of view. I think all of us are on the same page. It doesn't matter which school we belong to, we are educationals. We are from the same community and we are resonating the same ideas and same thought process. Again, back to Dolly ma'am, she's bounced back. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, and my apologies for the discontinuity that is happening because of my network. I don't know why it is troubling me a lot today. It doesn't happens normally, but today it's not in my hand. So please excuse me for that, and please bear me for just few more minutes. Okay. So moving forward now, I would like to call my next guest, Ms. Bhavna Bharadwaj. Ma'am is the coordinator of DPSGV Primary Wing. So welcome, ma'am. Ma'am, like we talk so much about curriculum, about the changes that are happening in the pedagogy that happened in these 2 years as well, and now since the we are planning the children coming them back to school. So, what do you think? Is there any different in pedagogical approaches as far as the various levels of learnings are concerned? If yes, then how the pedagogical approaches have changed according to you?
Thank you, Dolly ma'am. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'm really thankful that you have given me this opportunity to share my experience. And in fact, I am really happy to be a part of such enriching session where everyone has shared their thoughts, their experiences, their learnings. and it's great to learn from each one of them. So as far as the pedagogical practices are concerned, I would say that no matter how challenging the situation may have been during the COVID-19 pandemic, I think the return to school is an important and hopefully a welcoming step. I think COVID should get the Best Teacher Award, and we educators should be awarded as the best learners. And why am I saying so? Because it was not an easy task at all, but we did it. Shifting from traditional methodologies to a technology-based learning is a classic paradigm shift in the history of educational system. The virtual classroom became a game changer overnight for the education system. And during that time, the real challenge was to what, why, and how children would find these online teaching learning beneficial. How to make teaching learning process interesting, interactive, applicative, and innovative. So if you see, the questions were at that time also, and now when we are discussing about the new normal, I think the question or the challenge seems to be even bigger as millions of children across the nation are preparing to join the school. The question arises, are we prepared? Children may be uniquely impacted by the pandemic, having experienced this crisis during important periods of their physical, social, and emotional development. And some may have experienced the loss of their loved ones. What we need to now focus is to first cater to the needs of the learners. Quite often as schools, we discuss about the holistic development of the children, but with the gap of almost 2 years now, again, a question to ponder. Do we really know our learners? Are they willing to come to us, or they are still in the comfort zone? Are we prepared to welcome them and support them? Are they equipped with the age-appropriate life skills? Are we equipped to support them and equip them with the age-appropriate skills? What are we looking for? A curriculum that has to be transacted in a session, which is a normal practice. An assessment to be taken, which we call as an integral part of our teaching learning process. To meet the deadlines, or our focus is helping the children to bring back the spirit of joyful learning. I'm sure that you all will agree that each child is unique and has potential. Every child is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that I failed. I believe that brain has evolved over the millions of years to be responsive to different kinds of content in the world. Language content, musical content, spatial or numerical content, etc. It's high time when schools must inquire deeper into their practices, explore new ways to motivate their learners, make use of learning styles, introduce multiple intelligences, integrate learning, and teach thinking. And in process discover the passion and moral purpose that makes teaching exciting and effective. When a child is thriving, there is no reason to spend time assessing intelligences. But when the child is not thriving in school or at home, that is the time to apply the lens of multiple intelligences and see whether one can find ways to help the child thrive in different learning environments. One striking thing I think all of us will agree in both the situations during pandemic and now in new normal is the connect with the child. That time also we were little apprehensive that whether in the online teaching learning will we be able to connect with the children, and we found our ways and means. Same is the situation now after 2 years. Are we planning to give enough settling time to let children cope up with this new normal? Again, a question to ponder. Answer, though, lie with us only. We have to look for solutions. And there's a very good practice which we follow in our school, circle time. Very important with the students. Give them freedom to speak. Let them speak their heart out. Let them share their experiences, share their emotions, and through the experience sharing of peers, gradually let them adjust to this new normal. As educators, we have to give them time. We have to lend our ears. We have to show that we care for them. We are there to support them. Once this connection is built amongst the teacher and the taught, it gives the teacher an opportunity to have one-to-one interaction and identify the gap areas. So when I'm talking about the gap areas, again, we as educators have to be smart enough that during these discussions, this settling time, we have to identify why and where this gap lies. And once this gap is identified, that is the time for an educator to plan for personalized learning plan according to the needs identified. So the path of the light is the quest of knowledge. And if you are willing to be a self-learner, you will develop yourself. And the more you learn, the more you want to learn. Life as a teacher begins the day you realize that you are always a learner. So it is time for all of us to practice 3 P's and 3 C's. So when I'm saying 3 P's, it is time for us to ponder. It is time for us to actually have patience and again reflect on our own practices. And when I'm talking about 3 C's, this time demands the connect, this time demands the communication, and this time demands the collaboration, the effective collaboration between the teachers and the taught, collaboration between the teachers and the parents. So together we can make a difference. Thank you so much.
Very true, Bhavna ma'am. Very true, and I agree with you. No doubt. I think the all the members present here would agree with you. So, as you suggested, we need to change our mindset. Everything is changing, and so did we. And we still need to keep changing, keep evolving. Moving forward, taking this discussion, although everything, most of the thing is already shared by Bhavna ma'am, but still I would like to have a little more light on this change of mind, change of approach. So for this, I would like to call Mr. Himanshu Sharma, again, the marketing head of Jasmine Group. Sir, do you think, as Bhavna ma'am also suggested, the approach mind of the educators also need time appropriate transformation? If yes, what kind of transformation do you look at? If no, why do you think so?
Yeah, thank you, Dolly ma'am, for welcoming again. And definitely we often like the practices we are doing to educate our child, our kids. Because see, the last 2 years, students has already know how to do the smart works. Nowadays, a 5-year kid has the knowledge to how to run the YouTube, how to be a socialize on Facebook, how to play games on an Android. And the rest what we have is to done the hard work. We have to make a balance between the hard work and the smart work at the early stage. Because at the last 2 years environment they have deal with is only they have done the smart works. They have become the tech savvy. But after coming to the new normal, coming back to the school, the educations, they have to do the same hard work they are doing prior. So I just end up with my session that make change like that.
Thank you so much, sir. Monica ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
I think Himanshu is saying something, but his network problem is also there at the moment. We can hear his cracked voice.
I thought maybe my network is not that supportive.
Kids can facilitate
Himanshu sir, if you could
hard
switch off
work and
your camera, that will make your audio clearer.
strategies because they are so much succeeding. Okay, now I am.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what I was saying is just that I would like to end up my session in one liner that environment look like that our kids can proper focus on their hard work, not on the smart work more. The smart work required to them because they had already learned that time had already for that what they are going to with the Android, how to become a tech savvy. But coming up to new normal, coming back to the schools, they have to be disciplined. They have to do their work, what we are teaching them at the right time. Because at their home, they have they can do at night, they can do at day, they can do at afternoons, they can any time. Make a platform for them so that the smart work and the hard work continues with them.
That was wonderful, Mr. Himanshu. I think now we come towards the last leg of this session. We're running out of time. We're running out of time, so we'll switch on quickly to the last question of the session. Manika ma'am, can I come up with this last question? Even you people can
Sure,
raise your
sir.
hand.
Trilok,
Last
the last
question.
part for you and Deepa ma'am, who's also present here. So both
No.
of you can take this.
No, I am not taking the answer. I am taking the question only, right? Deepa will answer that. I am saying, do schools need any infrastructural modification as per the changes that have gone through the current times? Since we have changed, do we need any infrastructural development in the schools? What are the needs of the new normal? After Deepa ma'am, if Abhishek wants to say or anybody wants to say anything, can raise their hands. Over to you, Deepa ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir, and thank you everybody for actually defining today what new normal is, what new normal means. So I'm just connecting back to what Sunil sir was saying initially in the beginning when he answered that what all is needed uh, as far as primary school is concerned. So he actually laid down a lot of needs for us to cater to. One is that physical, mental, emotional health of the children is to be taken care of. Another is safety and security is to be taken care of. Another is health and hygiene is to be taken care of in the schools. So when we actually say these may seem to be mere words, but their horizon is very, very wide. When it comes to health and hygiene, the infrastructural needs must be not just tangible, but they would be intangible as well. So tangible things might include, sterilization of spaces and keeping sanitizers at points or keeping, hand washers in the washrooms. But intangible things would need the change of the mindset of the educators so that they are empowered enough to transfer this knowledge to the children that how they can best take care of themselves. It's not just one virus which is bothering us. There are many other microorganisms which are surrounding us and which might infect. And we should now not wait for any of the pandemic to come in to tell us what all care should be taken in the school premises. So I think it's good time to reflect, identify, analyze our needs, and then deciding upon the steps which are to be taken so that we can take care of health and hygiene of children. And that will in turn also take care of safety and security of our children. And the very critical point, physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And this requires not just creating spaces in the school for outlet, like I think one of the panelists mentioned the circle time. I think it was Bhavna ma'am. Circle time, which is very, very important. Creating not just these spaces, but also keeping space in the curriculum for gradually building up of attitudes, dispositions, values, and beliefs in our children, so that they are empowered enough to navigate through their life situations, so that they can themselves take care of their social, emotional, mental well-being. And we need not to inject them with some kind of solution so that they are taken care of for a small period of time, because life is big and we are not at all preparing our children for content now. Our mindset has to change, that we are going to prepare children actually for life. We used to say this, but we never did it. We just prepared them for exams till now, but now the mindset is to be changed, because we need to create balanced, socially, physically, emotionally, and of course collaborators, communicators, good citizens for the country and globe. So this is what we are going to create through schools, and that is why our infrastructural needs are to be aligned. And lastly, of course, because this requires a technological input, so that tangible technological support we will require. And I now invite everybody to add to this. Thank you very much.
Well said, Deepa ma'am. Sir, would you like to add something to this, or this is the last question for our discussion today?
Is there anyone, any of the panelists would like to lay a little emphasis on what would be the infrastructural modifications which will be needed in the schools in the new normal? Is there anyone who would be like to ponder on it amongst the panelists? Whether it's Mr. Sunil, Mr. Abhishek, Mr. Himanshu, Ms. Nazia, or for that matter, any of the panelists would like to say anything, please feel free. Otherwise, I think it was a wonderful session altogether. Yes, somebody is wanting to say something.
Yeah, I everyone again. I believe that Ms. Deepa ji has laid down the points very beautifully. And yes, there has to be infrastructural development and everything there. And I just want to say, I mean, I think I'm getting away from that question, but I just want to say that it was such a nice interaction to look into the different thought of these entrepreneurs that is right in front of me. And I would personally just say that I'm just to close this from my end, that to the different panelists as well as to the Facebook live people who are the participants who are seeing us, that live your life, learning is everywhere and nothing stops you. All problems are too small if you decide. So all these while we have been in the problems, we have been in the situation, and these situation will come. But as human being, we are the only species in the whole world which is called being. Why? Because we have the power to be whatever we want to be. So I guess this answers the question to all the some of the discussion that we have. That yes, it is in our hand what we can make ourselves, or what we can input. We can give the input to our children, right? So I feel that thank you, Trilok sir, for having me in this wonderful panel discussion. And I believe that I hope that I was able to give some inputs which were helpful to all our panelists as well as the different participants across, right? So thank you so much.
Thank you, Abhishek sir. Trilok sir, can I take the proceedings further?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
You are the moderator today. I'm just a silent spectator. I was just watching everyone, listening to everyone. I was a learner today. I was trying to learn from everybody's experiences. Good, intelligent people are those who do not wait for getting an experience. Rather, they learn from the experiences of others. And this is what I was doing very quietly. And I really loved the session. Every speaker was one better than the other. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, everybody else. Yes,
So
ma'am.
indeed,
Thank you
as
so much, sir.
rightly said by Trilok sir, this has been an enriching session, and from the very fact that we have overshot the time, and yet we have people who are listening and contributing to this discussion, is an indicator of the value this webinar has created for all of us. And yes, this also is the infrastructure for collaboration, for sharing ideas, for sharing thoughts, so that we can our personal spaces, our school spaces, more productive, more joyful, more happy, and whatever is the best for the teachers, the students, and the parents. So, with that, I invite our Richa ma'am to deliver the vote of thanks for everyone who has given this webinar their time and their insights about back to school practices in the new normal. Thank you, Richa ma'am, all yours.
Thank you so much, Monica ma'am. So it was a really interesting and informative webinar today, and I hope there is a lot of for each participant to learn and practice. And I extend my thanks to respected principal sir, Mr. Tilok Singh Bisht, and all other panelists, the parents, for managing time out of their busy schedules to be a part of this webinar. And thanks a lot to the audience for adding value to this webinar. And my special thanks to principal sir and parents for extending their unconditional support. And looking forward to connect other preschools too in future for mutual learning and understanding. Thank you for all again. Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram.
Thank you.